Did you ever dine at a restaurant where the service was really poor, where you had to wait a long time for everything and you couldn't wait to get the bill in order to show your dissatisfaction by the size of the tip? It happened once in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. A woman by the name of Mackenzie Schultz went out with her husband, Steve, to celebrate their 6th wedding anniversary. The restaurant was very crowded and the service was terrible. They had to wait 20 minutes to receive their water, another 40 minutes for their appetizer, and over an hour for their main course. All around them, people were becoming angry, and everyone was making fun of the waiter. People were getting up and leaving, and the couple found themselves surrounded by negativity. Mackenzie says that for a while they too embraced this negativity and were allowing it to ruin their evening. But then they looked around and saw that this poor waiter was the only waiter in the entire restaurant. He was taking care of every table there, and he was taking care of the bar all by himself. The problem was not the waiter. The problem was understaffing of the restaurant. Somebody else didn't show up to work. And so Mackenzie and Steve looked at each other and said, "This used to be us. We both used to be waiters, and we have both been in impossible situations like this." So they smiled and said, "We have nothing else to do tonight. Let's just take this as a blessing from God that we are able to spend even more time together this evening. Let's not allow this negativity to ruin our evening." They enjoyed their wedding anniversary. When the bill came, it was for $66, and she added a $100 tip. She thought this was such a terrible evening for this poor kid, and he was going to be stiffed by everybody else in this place. "I just wanted to spread a little bit of compassion," she said, "and I just wanted to put a smile on a face." When they returned home, Mackenzie posted her comments on her Facebook page, along with a copy of the receipt, saying, "I'm not doing this to get a pat on the back. I'm doing this because I want in this way to spread a little more understanding, a little more compassion, a little more love." Well, as we say nowadays, it went viral. And by the next morning, there were thousands of likes on her Facebook page. And from all over the world came hundreds of very positive comments from people saying they had never looked at a waiter that way, with so much understanding and compassion. For weeks afterwards, people all over the world were doubling the tips for their waiters because of this woman's posting. As one person wrote in, "A little love goes a long way." And with modern means, it can go a long way very quickly. What a breath of fresh air! We see so much negativity, especially on the internet. Those of us who use computers constantly find ourselves surrounded by this negativity, consumed by it sometimes. People write the most horrible things on their social media pages. They write horrible things about their children's school, about their children's teachers who dared to give their perfect children a bad grade. They write terrible things about their children's friends, about the parents of their children's friends, about their own friends, about their mothers-in-law. Negativity abounds. Back in the old days, when there was an insane person with some really bizarre ideas, he might have an audience of 2 people, or maybe 20. Now you can post anything you want, no matter how outrageous, and have an audience of millions. And you're taken seriously. It must be true. It's on the computer. You can Google cure for Ebola and find thousands of blogs and websites purporting to have such a cure. Any quack, any nut can say anything they want, and it must be true because I read it on the internet. There are websites existing specifically for people to complain about things. Businesses, establishments, restaurants, yes, even churches. Quite often the things said by these reviewers reveal far more about the ignorance of the writer than about the inadequacies of the place being reviewed. Negativity surrounds us. Most of us have enough negativity in our own lives, enough complainers in our own homes. We don't need it confronting us every time we turn on the screen. But everything we read on the computer must be the truth, the gospel truth. That's how far we've come. Has Google replaced God as the center of life? We don't want to accept the truths we once accepted, but we are perfectly willing to accept as true everything we read on the screen in front of us. A few years ago, a study was conducted of the rising percentage of people in this country who are no longer affiliated with any religion. In 1990, it was 8%. In 2010, it was 18%. The scientific study showed further that a very large percentage of this can be accounted for by the increased use of the internet. The computer has taken over people's lives, taken over people's time, taken over people's attention. People no longer have time to go and have a face-to-face with someone. They would much rather have a face-to-screen. It's much easier. The internet offers answers on demand, and that can be wonderful, a very helpful tool indeed. But who or what are we more likely to place our faith in on a daily basis? In God or in Google? We can get many instant answers by pressing a button, but it is often superficial knowledge, never wisdom. Wisdom takes contemplation of the heart, not the press of a button. A computer can be an excellent servant, but a merciless master if we allow it to be. A computer is a marvelous tool, but a totally inadequate foundation stone for our life. The great artist Pablo Picasso once said, "Computers are useless. They only give you answers." Life is so much more than merely instant answers. The touch of a key can never take the place of the touch of another human being. We must ask ourselves, should every experience be made digital and instant? Are we losing a vital part of our humanity? Are there things computers cannot provide us? Computers have lots of memory, but no imagination. Our Lord talks about the cornerstone of our life. For the 21st century human being, that cornerstone is slowly becoming something on the screen, something that can in reality never take the place of a true cornerstone. Remember when computers first came out, people were scared to death of them. And they used to say that before you know it, computers were going to start thinking like people. And to this, the journalist Sidney Harris replied, "The real danger is not that computers will begin to think like people, but that people will begin to think like computers. How prophetic that was. We see the behavior of so many around us now, and we wonder if inside that person there is a soul or a chip. We wonder what the cornerstone really is for the human being anymore. A computer is an outstanding tool, a marvelous helpmate, but not a cornerstone for any life worthy of a human being. Let us not lose our life, nor the humanness of our life with all its wonderful possibilities for imagination and wonder and poetry and love. A soul is not a machine. A human heart is not a search engine. How easily can these wonderful devices take over our time, take the place of the truly human, the truly worthwhile in life. Let us not say, I had a life once, now I have a computer. Let us, like Mackenzie, use these magnificent tools as instruments for dispelling negativity, not spreading it, for building up the edifice whose cornerstone is something far deeper. For by these modern means, a little love can truly go a long way fast. Let us rediscover that the basis for a truly human life is not a hard drive, but a heart drive. By the Lord has this been done, and it is wonderful in our eyes.